Hi, welcome to the Two Piece Podcast, where two very different people compare and contrast their top fives on a variety of topics. I'm Steph. I'll be joined by Alex very shortly. This week's topic is top 5 favorite college memories. And one thing I learned is that Alex and I have very different college experiences. I was going to class and studying, and he was in the music department practice room singing improv music for friends. Surprise, surprise. Not only do we share our memories in this episode, but we're also going to take a trip through time, learning about how college has evolved over the years. All right, well, let's get to it. Hi, welcome to the Two Piece Podcast.
Hey.
I'm Steph.
I am Alex. Hey, Steph.
Hi. How are you?
I'm good. What are we talking about today?
Well, you're going right into it.
I'm just asking you.
Today, our topic is top 5 favorite college memories.
College memories. We thought this would be it ended up being, this was randomly picked, but it ended up being kind of a good time to do this because I was talking about this off the microphone, that it's right around the beginning of the summer. You know, so like we're reflecting on school years. We just did the podcast about schoolyard memories and stuff like that, recess stuff.
That's
so like,
true.
And now we've grown, and now we're talking about college.
Yeah, that's true. And I wonder if we're going to have the same problems.
Certainly not.
In college.
We didn't do the same things in college.
No.
Definitely.
I mean, as we did in like elementary school.
Oh, I wasn't kissing girls on the playground in college, believe it or not.
Are you sure?
No, I promise. What was I doing? I was just screwing around. You know some of my stories, but there's a lot on my list that I don't think you'll know.
Oh, that sounds screwing around. Sounds like you're...
No, not like that. Not that kind of screwing around.
Let's clarify for people.
Okay. So when I say screwing around at the college, what I mean was that I had a power drill with me.
Okay.
And
but
I would
now
go
you're
around,
making it seem even more like...
I had a power drill, and what I would do is I'd go around.
You mean what it sounds
if there was
like.
a loose piece of lumber, I'd take a screw, and I'd screw the piece of the wood back in. I'd have screwed, and just, I was screwing around. I kid. Hey, where could people find us, Steph?
Why don't you clarify still?
Screwing around just means like I'm just messing around, running around with friends and stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Oh
That's all.
Why did you need that? You knew I wasn't going around fixing pieces of lumber.
I knew that, but it's what other people may perceive about you.
So in other words, Steph wants control over my reputation.
No.
I don't know, because I was fine with leaving it at that.
I want to protect your reputation. I don't want control over it. You can have it.
There's already enough out there for my reputation to be ruined.
You can have it.
Okay.
What was your question?
My question was, where could people find the Two Piece Podcast? Because this topic is recommended... college memories. Oh, sorry. This topic was recommended by our good friend Jake. I had a brain fart for a second.
Oh, and you know that he just wanted a call out on the podcast, and here you are stuttering around, forgetting it was him.
He never asked for a call out. We call out everybody.
Well, he wanted it. You know he did.
Of course. Well, yeah, it's Jake.
Yeah, you know he did.
Jake, thank you for the suggestion. He actually suggested this a long time ago, and then I was looking through our messages and I found that suggestion and I forgot to move it to our list of all of our topics. I just forgot.
Well, that'll ruin your reputation right there.
So I threw it in our list and it was picked. And I thought this is perfect because him and I recently, we kind of reconnected and it's been really fun kind of chatting with him and stuff. So Jake, here it is. College memories / college time period, but a lot of them for me revolve around college.
Well, as they should. That is the topic.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you can find us at the Two Piece Pod on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook. Yeah, and then if you're not listening on video, you can do the video version if you want. It's not like us talking; it's our little cartoon characters still, but you can do YouTube as well. And you can leave a comment and chat with us and all that stuff if you want. So let us know what your top 5 college memories are, and also give us topics. This is a crowd. I was going to say funded, but nobody pays us anything. This is a crowd-driven show. Any topics you have.
Well, I guess the information is funded by the crowd.
Yeah.
Not the money, though.
Right. Yeah, not the money. We're still waiting on these sweet sponsorships to come knocking on our door. Who knows? Maybe a university will sponsor us. You never know.
We need to quit saying not a sponsor when we bring stuff up, so that way places will think that we are sponsoring those places, and then we'll seem in demand.
Would it be smart if we did fake sponsorships? No, because they'd get free money, and we wouldn't get anything.
Yeah, that's silly.
This episode's sponsored by Kit Kat. And, well, the Kit Kat's just going to get more money, and we're not going to get anything. So that was kind of the dumbest thing I said all podcast so far.
So far. Just so far, though.
Hey, I want to tell a quick story.
Hey, okay.
Very, very quick. You actually brought this up. I don't want to lie. You came up with this, but I thought this is perfect. We'd like to chat a little bit about kind of what, just a little conversation before the actual topic starts, and I wanted to share this. So, our good friend Hayden, who suggested our topic a couple weeks ago, him and I used to be roommates, not too long after college for me. Him and I were roommates, and I remember he would always leave the house really late at night, like kind of giggling. It's like 11 p.m. and he'll close the door. I'm thinking, where is this kid going at 11 p.m.? I say kid, he's older than me. We were like in our mid-20s at this time. And like, where's he going? Like, whatever. And then I hear the door slam again at like 2 a.m. It was probably earlier than that. It was probably like 12 a.m. or 1 a.m.
He's probably just gone an hour.
Still, I'm in bed, right? And I'm just hearing this stuff. Well, then like the next morning I'd wake up and he'd go, Alex, guess what I found last night? And he'd have like an amplifier or like a guitar.
Or a computer one time.
Or a computer or a laptop or an iPad. He's found so close. One day he was wearing the clothes that he found. So here's what he's doing. He's going out to our local university where we're from, and he's digging in the dumpsters. And he'll always do it around the time that students are either like coming or going, like they're starting their semester or leaving, heading back home or whatever. Because they throw away so much valuable stuff. But at first, I'd always give him crap like, Hayden, you are dumpster diving. This is what homeless people do. Why are you doing this, right? You're not home. You have a home. He's like, no, like you can find cool stuff. And you're right. Guitars and computers and amplifiers. And he once gave me a pair of pants. I didn't wear them, Hayden. I'm sorry. Maybe I give them back to you, but it was a maroon pair of pants that he found dumpster diving. I'm actually quite impressed. But yeah, if you're going to dumpster dive, now here's what I found out.
He's found clothes with tags on it.
Well, that's the thing. It's like
and like gaming computers.
I'm not against what he's doing because look how many things he's finding and look how many things people are wasting.
Yeah, throwing away.
Like things, perfectly good things. His literal gaming computer is something he found in the dumpster. The only thing it didn't have was a GPU, which we've now put in there. I got him that for his bachelor party gift. I got him a graphics card for his computer. But yeah, I used to give him a hard time, but I never will anymore. And there's a whole world of this online. There's YouTube channels dedicated to dumpster diving. So he used to watch those channels. I don't know if he still does, but like they'll like go behind a GameStop or a Radio Shack or a Walmart or a Best Buy and say, "Here's what I found tonight." And then they just have all kinds of crazy stuff. People throw away all kinds of things, especially behind colleges, apparently.
Those college kids, they maybe have rich parents and don't think about.
Look at it. I know at our university, those kids had money to spend. I know that. Cash money. I used to work in retail, and I would sell like phone plans and stuff, and students would come in and they would like lay down $1,000 cash and just like pay for like their bill for like the semester. They would just pay and cash $1,000 in advance.
Oh, wow.
Literally. That happened many times. Or they would put that out for like a new phone. It's like, it was wild.
Wow.
Anyway, we digress. Steph, I want you to share a little bit too. We always like to, explain things. Explain things.
We have some research to share.
Thank you. We like to share. We like to learn as we go in the show. I'm doing bad at wording things tonight. What kind of research do you have?
We are going to talk about the history of college in America.
She had to look. She wasn't sure if it was in America or if it was in
I did the
Asia.
research and I didn't remember. I thought there were some European colleges listed, but I was incorrect, and it was all American. So we're just going to be taking a journey through the different eras of college life in America.
I'm excited to learn this because I actually was, I kind of liked the progression that it all went through when we talked about playgrounds. and how those evolved. So I'm excited to hear the evolution of university, as it were.
Yeah.
So that'll be fun.
Yeah.
I'll be ready.
Yep. Don't ask me the question. Don't ask me the question.
Don't. Want me to bring this up right now? I'll bring it up right now.
Don't ask me the question.
We
talked about it before we got on here so that you would not ask the question.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Put a little love in it. Listen. Steph, right before this, was like, okay, so which way? How's it go?
I did. And you know why I did it right before?
And I will never give you crap for it.
So that you wouldn't ask me the same question you ask me every time when we're recording and we're about to start. That's why I talked about it before.
I never call you out. And you call me out every time.
You do. That's a lie. If I've ever heard one.
Well,
so you go first.
Let's get started. What do you say?
Yes.
Top 5 college memories. One last time, let us know. We'd love to continue the conversation with you. All right, so...
Are you going to say where you went to college?
Should we say that?
Yep.
I guess we... Well, okay, I guess I will. You went to 2 at one point. I went to 1, and it was Parkland College. That was in Champaign, Illinois.
Yep.
Community college at the time. Now it's a full-blown college. But at the time, it was a community college. And I studied film, and then I actually transitioned into studying business management.
Yeah.
Sounds a lot like me, doesn't it? Business management, what are you talking about?
Well, but you manage your business pretty well.
Oh, my...
Not your reputation, but your business.
My reputation's just fine. All right. I guess you can share yours when it's your turn. I guess you can share.
Oh.
Right? I'm asking, really.
Sure. That's fine. Okay. I don't care.
Steph is looking forward to this part. She likes to brag that.
That's not true.
All right.
Oh, my gosh.
Here we go. My number 5.
I don't want to brag. Look
okay,
at you.
then don't.
I was trying to protect your reputation. Now you're trying to throw mine. Dirty my reputation
Oh,
up.
please. Your reputation is as squeaky clean as a baby's butt. All right? That's how squeaky clean your reputation is. It's much cleaner than mine. My number 5 top college memory is actually a particular class. This was my first semester, or first year at least. And it was my film appreciation class.
Oh.
So most of these aren't classes, but this one in particular stuck out to me. And it kind of barely made my number 5. I really appreciated this. When I went into school, I kind of went through this back and forth in my head of, do I want to study do I want to like get a degree and study in like what really interests me, or in what will make me money? And because I at the time I wanted to be a filmmaker, and part of me always will want to be one, but. I thought, I'm thinking of practicality. So but that first year I thought, you know what? I'm going to follow my heart and do what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I did.
Good for you.
So, well, I did take it, and I'm glad I did, because I ended up learning in the few courses I took that kind of revolved around film that I didn't really want to pursue directing anymore. I didn't want to do it anymore. Like, I learned that. I learned that I wanted to.
Well, and sometimes that's what you have to do. To learn that stuff.
But that being said, I'll always love video, and it's always my first love. But film appreciation class was an incredible class. It was one of the secondary courses that I had to take out of a list, and I picked that one. And I'm so glad I did, because it was a great way for me to watch a lot of classic movies that I otherwise wouldn't have seen, which were really cool. A few movies that I saw there for the first time were One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which is now one of my favorite movies.
Mm-hmm.
Love that movie. I saw the first Star Wars for the first time.
No.
Never saw any Star Wars movies up until college, which is wild, but I never saw Star Wars. And then I saw The Shining for the first time.
Oh.
And I saw Chinatown. Those are the movies that stuck out to me. Chinatown's like a classic. They use it as an example of a noir film. And which, if you noticed, I mean, Steph may not have, but 3 of the 4 movies have Jack Nicholson in them. And I also I found a newfound respect. I already liked Jack Nicholson, and liked what he did, what I saw him in, but this just put it over the top. Like, no wonder he's one of the greatest actors of our time. He's incredible. So anyway, all great movies. But yeah, just I made some good friends. I loved our professor, the way that he would open conversations. This particular class was in like an auditorium, and I just liked but it was a big auditorium, but like with like 40 kids. It wasn't that,
but that's a pretty big class, though.
I mean, maybe it was 40. It could have been less, but it was all I know is that we were kind of all spread out, but we had room to kind of sprawl out, have our papers out, and we would talk, we'd watch movies, and we'd talk about them. And it's very open-ended conversation. And it was just an example of one of the few times that I actually really enjoyed a course during my college years. I actually really liked it. That didn't happen very often. Most times I didn't really like it.
Aww.
But that I did.
That's a sweet memory.
That's my number 5. Film appreciation. Won't ever forget it.
That's a good memory.
You ever take a appreciation class of some kind?
No.
None at all?
No.
Okay, well, never mind. What's your number 5?
Well, first, I'm going to talk about where I went to college, but I'm not going to brag like Alex seems to think that I'm going to do.
No, I was just kidding.
I'm not. But I went to Mississippi State for a year. I went there and I thought, I'm going to be a radiologist. And I thought, I'm super detail oriented. I think that'll be a great job. I think x-rays are cool.
X-rays are cool.
Yes, I'll be a radiologist. So I majored in biochemistry for the first semester. And then I don't remember what exactly happened, but I think I took a class about something and I liked it. And I realized, I want to be in engineering and work on medical devices. So I changed my major the second semester to biomedical engineering. In one of those classes, I had one of the college experiences that would be on the bottom of my least favorite experiences. There was an engineering class in the slaughterhouse, and it was terrible and awful. I know you know the story, but anyway, the experience at Mississippi State was really great. So I went there for a year, but then I decided that I want.
You're not going to tell that story?
No, this is top 5 favorite, not favorite.
It'd be entertaining, but okay.
Okay, well, I'll tell it in a minute, but I'll make it quick. Okay. I'll make it quick. I'll tell it in a second. Okay, but I want to explain.
We know Steph's story.
I know it's too long, so I'll make it quick. But anyway, Mississippi State was great. But while I was there, I thought, okay, I know I want to do medical devices. Well, I'm from Memphis, and it's a huge hub for medical devices. And I thought, okay, well, if I'm at Mississippi State, I have to do a co-op. I have to take a year off school to do an internship or a co-op somewhere else and then come back, because there's nowhere around Mississippi State to do any kind of internships or whatever unless it's in the summer. But I wanted to work and go to school. I wanted to get that experience. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to transfer back home. And I had a college that was at the time was it was tied with Mississippi State, and I ended up going with Mississippi State. So I transferred back to Memphis and went to Christian Brothers University, which is a private Catholic college in Memphis. And they didn't have biomedical engineering, so I changed my major again to mechanical engineering. And I went to CBU for 3 years. So I had a total of 4 years in college, even though transferring, most of my credits didn't count.
That sucks.
I literally took 3 classes every summer that I was at CBU. I had no time off school the whole 3 years I was there. I mean, every single summer I took classes. Because I didn't want to be there for 5. I didn't want to be in college for 5 years. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I just didn't want that. I didn't want that. I didn't want to have to pay for another year of college. I wanted to just get it over with. Anyway, so I did mechanical engineering and minored in math, and I graduated from CBU. So, and I should say I got my bachelor's. So not a master's or anything, just the bachelor's. But the Mississippi State story, I'll say that really quick. I was in this class. It was for biomedical engineering, and we're in this class, and it was one of the most interesting engineering classes, though. It's like we had these different things we had to create and make, and like design. Yeah, but it was in this building that was like, you walked in. Mississippi State is like an agricultural type college. They have like a vet program. They have animals on the campus and stuff like that. And so they have like a slaughterhouse. And I didn't know this the first time I walked into this building. And I walked in, and the first thing that hits you is just the smell. And I thought, oh my gosh, what is this? And then as I'm walking by, I'm seeing dead animals hanging, meat hanging. Okay. And I thought, oh my gosh. And I started crying right then, right? I hadn't even made it to the class yet.
Right.
I mean, but it wasn't like I was fine. I was walking and tears were coming down my face. Okay. And then I get to class. And anyway, I just managed it for a while and just dealt with it. And then one day, I had no idea why this stupid class was in the slaughterhouse. One day.
They probably had no room. If I were to guess.
Do you know how big that campus is? There's no way they have no room. They could put an engineering class in the freaking engineering building and they would be just fine.
I don't know.
It does not have to be in the slaughterhouse.
Just thinking.
I don't know. I'm mad about it. But anyway.
Right.
So we were in class, and one day, all of a sudden, I can't do the impression or whatever, but all of a sudden he's teaching, the professor's talking, and you hear things happening. That's to a pig. That's all I'm going to say. You hear
things happening to a pig. So they could have been snuggling with the pig. They
were killing the pig.
They could have been playing poker with the pig.
And it was squealing, and it was, I can't talk about it.
It was
I can't,
losing.
look,
Oof.
shh, I can't talk about it or I'm going to cry. You want me to cry right now? I can't talk about it.
It makes for good content.
No, I can't talk about it.
Okay.
So things were happening, and it was loud, and the whole class just went silent. I mean, everybody. I mean, it was awful. That's what I'm saying. It was
that would be awkward.
Awful.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't awkward. It was terrible. Awful.
I just would have thought it was awkward. But I mean, I know what you mean, though.
And everybody fell quiet and was looking around and looking at the professor or whatever. Anyway, after that, I thought, oh my gosh, I don't want to go back to this class ever again. And I'm pretty sure I skipped a couple.
Well, sure.
So I don't know. Anyway, it was just I know that's not a big deal for some people. Like, you're like, oh, it would just been awkward. But it was it is
weird.
Very traumatic for me.
Sure.
So that was tough. That was one of my probably my least favorite memory of college.
What would you do if that? Okay, what would you do if that were the only place where you could like work with like medical devices and all that stuff, and it had to be in that environment? Would you tough through it?
Oh, like as a job?
No, to learn. Sorry.
I guess so.
Whew.
I guess so.
I know how much you
I
hate
did
that
it
stuff.
for the semester. I did it.
You did, yeah.
If it was for all 4 years, no, I'd change my major. Probably to psychology. But that was my second favorite class I ever took was psychology.
Oh, you were being funny.
No, I'm serious.
Okay, so I can promise you so many people right now just laughed at that. That was funny.
How was it funny? It was true.
Never mind. It's funny because it's like, well, after doing all that, I need to go to psychology. So I'm going to learn psychology. Now it's not funny.
Yeah,
but
it is funny now. I get it. But I didn't mean it that way.
That's usually how it goes. I have to explain the jokes to Steph, and she'll go, oh, wow, that is funny.
It is funny. It was funny. But
Let's get to your number 5.
Okay. Well,
God.
That was my second favorite class, though, was psychology. I took that in the summer, and I literally left the class with 105. I loved it so much.
Wow.
I got like 102 on all the tests. I was not bad at it.
Wow.
Not bragging. I liked it a lot. Okay, anyway.
I liked psychology, too. It was good.
Do you?
Yeah, but I mean, it was one of my favorite classes, but I didn't get great grades because I had never went to class. So.
Well, that would be why.
But I loved the class when I was there.
Yeah, it's interesting. Okay, so my number 5 is a memory while I was at Christian Brothers with my friend Casey.
Mm-hmm.
And we just talked about this on our trip.
Hi, Casey. She listens.
Yeah, she does listen.
I know she listens because I can look at her analytics and I know where she lives. So I see her town pop up.
She listens. She texts me about it
thanks
sometimes.
for listening.
So we used to, when we're sitting in class, and in particular, I remember thermodynamics, we would sit next to each other. And the classes at Christian Brothers were pretty small. I don't know. She'd probably correct me. I'm trying not to be dramatic, Casey.
She's really good at putting you in your place, too.
She is yeah, she is. That's why we're friends.
It's not just me that does it. It was so nice to meet one of her friends that does it, too. Like,
I know.
not afraid to, like, well, that's not what happened.
Casey calls me out.
Yeah. I respect her a lot.
That's why we're friends.
Yep.
I don't know, maybe 15, 20 people. Like, it was a fairly small class. There were some classes with just 10 in it or whatever, but it was pretty small. And so Casey and I sat next to each other, and I have so many stories to tell because how Casey and I met was interesting sort of too. But so we were sitting next to each other and we were so bored in thermodynamics. The professor was a good professor, but he talked so monotone, and then the stuff was just like equations and like heat flowing through this and through a fin and through this and through whatever. It's like you have to calculate it just was like, it was boring. And so we would look at each other and we would like work together. And one time we built like a tank, like an army tank out of erasers and pencil lead. And we would just build things. She had this little eraser that she would not throw away. Like, it's like started out like one of those rectangular like pink ones, and she literally used it till it was like the size of like the top of a pencil eraser, and she would not throw it away and get a new one. She had that thing through the whole, like, her whole college career.
It
she
still
used
had
that
some
one
use
eraser.
in it. Yeah, it had some use left in it.
But I got new ones. And
of course
so,
you did. You probably threw them away and there was like a good chunk left.
No, I
you.
actually didn't. I'd use them. I used them a lot more than her, I guess. So I went through mine a lot faster. And anyway, but I would use my full one and she'd have her little one and we would build tank. Anyway, I took a picture of one of them. And then in other times we would play Words with Friends or we'd play Trivia Crack. But
while in class?
Yeah. We'd sit in the second row. So we weren't supposed to have our phones out, but we would be pretty sneaky. We only got caught a handful of times.
And what happened? Just put the phones away?
Yeah. He'd be like, pay attention. And we'd be like, oh, sorry.
And then you do it again.
At the next class, yeah. But
wow, troublemakers.
Well, but we all always did fairly well in the class, so it's like we weren't failing the class, so it's like we showed up all the time. It was fine.
Yeah, but you have to set a good example for the others.
For who? Nobody cared.
That's a story that I wanted to know when we were all together. Because we were just with them not too long ago.
We talked about it.
Mm-mm.
Building the tanks and stuff?
No, I don't remember you talking about the tanks.
Well, we did. You weren't listening, I guess. But we did. We just talked about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I guess I missed that part. I don't know.
You must have been.
Or I might have been talking to Colby. Maybe.
You might have been talking to Colby, and maybe Casey and I were chatting and
because I want to ask, tell me some stories. Like that would have been something I wanted to know. So I'm glad I know now. Either way.
But it was a lot of fun.
Well,
though.
That's fun. It's good to have that buddy that you can kind of mess around with in class.
Yeah, Casey and I we stuck together like the whole 3 years and worked together and stuff. So
that's good, and you'll always have those memories.
Yeah,
I had a buddy like that too. In one of my classes, well, for a few classes, we'd always get take the same classes together for the boring ones, so we could keep each other entertained.
Yeah,
and I don't know if it ended up helping anything because we would just get distracted, and then we would not know what's going on. So then every time it came test time, that was never fun.
Oh.
But it was still fun before that, so.
See, our test, it's like we liked the professor, but a lot of times he just went over a lot of example questions. So it was like, well,
yeah,
it is what it is, and so we got it, and we're good.
And you're good. That's what matters. You're here now. You ready for my number 4?
Yeah.
My number 4 is the C Wing. Let me explain.
Okay.
If you know, you know. First of all, I'll put it that way. So any of my C Wing crew, you had to be there. If you know, you know. So the college I went to, it's as other colleges are too, just depending on what they are. It was divided into wings. There's an A wing, B wing, C wing, D wing, E wing, right? Go on, so on and so forth, all the way up until like the X wing or something, right?
Oh, okay. That's a lot of wings.
That's just how the sections of the college were divided out. This was a big school, but it wasn't like the size of a university or anything like that, right? It was just one giant, or it was a few big buildings. That being said, we'd have a crew that would always meet up at the C wing. And a lot of it started off with people that I went to high school with. So we all kind of stayed in a similar clique.
Okay.
Because Parkland was a school where we lived. If you weren't going straight to a university, usually you'd start at Parkland. So like, just because it was just a well-known, community school in that area. So like there was quite a few people from my hometown, so we all kind of already knew, it's hard
that's nice.
So it's hard to mingle with new people. So like it was kind of nice having people that you already knew. But it started to grow, and all of us had our own classes, and we'd bring our new friends, and pretty soon it became this giant group in the C wing of the original group from high school, but then all of our new college friends all mingling with each other.
Oh,
and
wow.
it became this big group of people just goofing off.
How many people do you think?
I mean, I would say people would come and go, right?
Yeah,
including me.
average.
I would come and go. Sometimes I wasn't there.
An average.
And any given day, it just depends on the time, because we'd meet up a few times a day, depending on lunch or whatever. But I would say at once, probably like 15 people.
Oh wow, yeah, that's pretty big.
But but it would bounce around, and it'd be a different 15 people, different days and stuff. But I made some great friends, and during that time, I made a really great friend directly from there. Him and I will have a story I'll share about him in a little bit later. But it was just really fun. The C wing was like connected to like the art department, like the fine arts department. So there's a lot of like weirdos out there, including me, and it was just fun. We just cracked jokes, had a lot of fun. I wanted to share this really fast. So, my dear friend Nick, if you're listening, Nick, hello, love you, kid. Him and I have been friends for a while. Well, here's the weird thing. Him and I went to high school together and never talked. We never talked. We weren't friends, right? We were in band together. We took classes together, never talked. But then the C wing magic. We started to hang out like in the C wing, and I got to know him, and I thought, this kid's cool. We started commuting to school together and commuting back home, and that's how him and I became such close friends. Even though I'd known him for like 12 years prior, all it took was hanging out in the C wing at college in between classes, and we became such great friends.
That's nice.
Just so many days of just cracking up, laughing, making memories and stuff. So.
Oh, that sounds like fun.
Anyway, there's the C wing.
That sounds like fun.
It was fun. Just a little meetup. Like, I couldn't wait to go to the C wing and hang out with everybody during lunch.
Aww.
You know what I mean?
I think you told me that story when you drove me to the campus.
I probably did.
Of Parkland. I think you took me to a different wing, but you told me where C wing was.
Oh, yeah. I forgot I took you to campus. I did, yeah.
Well, we didn't get out of the car, but we drove through.
I'd like to go see it again because it's grown a lot.
Well,
but
next time we're around.
Yeah. So, what is your number 4?
I didn't know we went to France.
We did not.
My number 4 also involves Casey. And this was also at CBU.
So I just went through saying this thing about 15 people. And then Steph's like, this one's about the same person again.
Yeah. I don't know. Me and
I'm just
Casey.
kidding.
Oh, no. Me and Casey were together all the time.
I know. You're a force to be reckoned with. I know.
So we were a power couple for sure in the college engineering classes.
Yeah.
Everybody came up to us like, what'd you make on your test? Can you show us how to do this? But in the background, I was asking Casey, hey, how did you do it?
I was going to say, I'm sure you loved that.
No, we traded. I think some classes she did better, and in some classes I kind of did a little better, and so we kind of helped each other.
Yeah.
I think. Hopefully she would agree with that statement.
She'll let you know.
She will let me know if she doesn't. But I feel like we helped each other overall. We worked really well together too. And anyway, okay, I could talk about Casey all day. All right, so
we can do like a friend episode another time.
Can we? I'll just talk about Casey the whole time. No, I'll make room for other friends too.
True. Yeah.
No, but anyway, I have lots of stories about Casey. We spent a lot of time together. Okay, So my number 4 is when it was me and Casey, and then also a guy named Daniel.
Do you have his last name and his social?
I have his last name, and I know what country he's from. Not from the U.S.
No credit card information, bank account information.
No.
Okay.
No.
Provide that next time.
No. And we were in a group together, and so one of our projects in one of our classes was it was like an engine focused kind of class. So like earlier in the semester, we took apart and rebuilt like an engine. And then the second part of that was to build a Stirling engine. Which, do you know what a Stirling engine is?
No.
Okay. So a Stirling engine, you can Google it. It has like a flywheel on it. So it's basically just a wheel that you're supposed to be able, it's supposed to work off of a heat differential, right? So you have like one piston that's hot and one piston that's room temperature. So the hot one, we did like a flame, like a torch on it. And just by putting the torch on a piece of metal, it was supposed to circulate the air through the pistons and make the pistons start and then spin the wheel. Right. So you're basically translating the thermal energy into mechanical. Right. And this is a project that they do every single semester in this class. And so Casey and Daniel and I, we worked so hard to build this freaking Stirling engine. There were other groups that were attempting it too. And our professor was like, nobody's made it. I think he's like, there's one group that maybe like a long time ago made it work. And there's nobody's been able to make it work. But it's just nice to build and understand how it works. So just make it. And like, we literally machined all of these parts. We had like CNC machines, we had drills, we had mills, lathes, all this stuff. So we made everything we made this engine from just like scrap pieces of metal. And anyway, Casey and I, Daniel wasn't there when we finished it. Casey and I were like, we're going to get this done. So we went into the shop, we put it all together, and we had our professor, because I know we're in college, but he wouldn't let us use the torch. So he had to come do the torch, and he held it on there. I have a video of it too, and it worked.
Awesome.
So that was my other favorite memory, because I think he almost cried. He was so excited. He was like, it's working. It never works.
That's cool. That's awesome.
And so we were so excited. We did a video and shared it with Daniel. We're like, sorry you missed it.
He's like, dang it.
He was probably at soccer practice or something. But
we're learning a lot about Daniel.
Yeah,
we know his name. He plays soccer.
Yeah, he played soccer, but that's why he wasn't there, I think, because I think he had like a soccer practice or a soccer game or something.
Sorry, all of your personal information is being exposed, Daniel.
Oh,
we're so sorry.
He's fine. And so anyway, that was my fourth favorite memory, because it felt like such an accomplishment.
That is really cool.
And like, we built that from nothing, and
we built this engine.
And it worked.
On rock and roll.
Right. It worked.
That's awesome.
It was just such a great sense of accomplishment.
Yeah.
You know? Like, I left
I'm proud
the
of you
shop,
right now.
and I was like, what do I do now?
Right. I peaked.
Yeah. What do I do now?
What can I do now?
Yeah. Anyway. Okay.
Young little Steph, I peaked. This is the best it can get.
I know what now. I don't know what to do.
I guess I'm going to quit now. I did it.
I don't know where that is. I thought one of us kept it. But Casey, do you still have it? I don't think she does.
Let us know in the comments below.
I might have it. I wonder if it's in my attic. I don't think so, though. Daniel doesn't have it. We wouldn't have let Daniel have it.
You God forbid, you
Yeah.
can't trust a soccer player with engines.
No, we probably left it. We maybe left it at the shop. Okay. All right. Well, so do you want to get into a little bit of research?
I thought you'd never ask.
Okay. Yeah, I know. So this is from college-education.procon.org, history of college education. So.
Sounds like a good source.
Yes. Okay. So college, we'll start with college in America. This is the 1600s to the 1800s. So colonial America produced 9 colleges that still operate. That's Harvard, College of William and Mary, Yale University, Princeton, Columbia, Brown, Dartmouth, Rutgers, and University of Pennsylvania. So most of those are like the bigwig schools, where people are like, ooh, I go to Harvard. So these universities were actually funded by the colony of England and usually catered to a specific religious denomination, such as Congregational or Presbyterian, which is also Puritan at that time. So primary and secondary school systems were not established. So college students were sometimes boys as young as 14 or 15, and they were admitted to receive a preparatory education. And the assumption was that they would work up to like college level courses. So colonial colleges were mainly founded and attended by wealthy Puritans and followed the model of British and Scottish universities, which focused on general education and moral character. The goal of the college was to produce Christian gentlemen who would inherit family businesses, remain within the Puritan faith, and be responsible leaders in the New World. Colonial college tuition costs and the loss of an able-bodied man from the family farm or business made the prestige and social status received by college unattainable for most families. Only about 1% of white males aged 18 to 21 attended college, and students frequently left college after their first or second year with no dropout stigma because they needed to go help their family and stuff. So colonial colleges excluded women, but sometimes had Indian schools to spread the Puritanism in Native American communities. And then the American Revolution, which was from 1775 to 1783, drained most colleges of students who became soldiers in buildings that became barracks. Did I say that right? And of the funds from England, resulting in the closing of many colleges post-war. Also, in the late 18th and early 19th centuries, there was a college building boom, increasing the number of schools from 25 colleges to in 1800 to 241 colleges in 1860. So increasing the variety of schools to include seminaries, scientific schools, military service academies, and teaching schools. And it also increased the programs of study to include medicine, law, military science, and agriculture. So previously it was more so like morals, general education, religion, and then after the American Revolution, it translated into...
After the what?
American Revolution.
Sorry, you cut out of the mic.
Oh, okay. American Revolution. They added like medicine, medical school, law school, stuff like that.
Well, what's your takeaway from that? From all you just read?
That. Why are you asking you?
I'm asking you.
That colleges started out as just sort of for young males to go for general education and to pursue, religious study and bring that back to their families. It's
so funny because colleges are far from religious now. They're like the opposite of religious.
We'll get to that.
Which is really interesting to me. It's also interesting that at the very beginning, I didn't realize that a lot of the most kind of recognized schools in American history were founded during like colonial American times, like the very beginning.
Yeah, and most of those were religion-focused schools. Because I read that on Wikipedia when I was doing my research too. Right. That like they were supposed to like create just to further religious purposes.
The schools were created what?
Well, like to train you and like the religion and like
purposes.
What it just mean like you would go to school and like train to be like I don't know, leader in the religious community. Like
in the religious community,
like more religious focused.
Like in the church, you mean?
Well, I'm just cute to generalize. You making fun of how I'm talking.
I'm really just trying to understand what you're trying to say. That's all. But I think I get you now.
Okay, I thought I was pretty clear. What was your takeaway?
What I just explained a moment ago about, the original schools being there. Like I just explained it.
Okay.
That's interesting though. I'm excited to see the shift from religious kind of foundation to not. That's curious to me.
Yeah.
So I'm curious about that.
Yeah.
I guess it's time for me to go to my number 3.
Yeah, go to your number 3.
My number 3 here is so at my school I don't know I can't remember if it was near the C wing or not, but we had near like the music section of the school, there were practice rooms, right?
Okay.
So you can go into practice. You know what those are?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So you can go into practice rooms. If you don't know what they are, practice rooms are basically rooms for students who are in the music department to practice their instruments in kind of like in a sound insulated room. It's not like perfectly sound insulated, but it's pretty good for the most part. And there's usually a bunch, so like they usually have pianos in there, but you can bring any instrument in there and like a stand and play your music on any instrument. Well, I was not in the music department, contrary to what some people may think I would have done.
Yeah,
but
that's odd.
I was not in the music department. That actually never crossed my radar at the time. But I had a lot of friends in the music department. A lot of my friends
Which
came
sounds
from
right.
there, which sounds right. And I was in there a lot. And so basically my number 3 is all of the fun memories in the practice rooms. So I was thinking about this when I was making my list. The practice rooms in college for me were the birth of the Jam and Chat.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So it'd be me and some friends, like music friends, and we'd each take turns improving a song while somebody plays piano.
Oh.
So like I would sit there. Usually I'd be the one playing the piano because I just kind of naturally would just go all over the place. And then we'd say, okay, do a song about, a guy taking another guy to court for peeing on his bushes in the backyard or something. It was whatever, right? And then we'd do this whole like courtroom, and I played piano, and then they would act it out. And sometimes there'd be like 2 or 3 of us doing the musical part, but then we'd have friends also in the practice room. We were crammed in there, like listening as the audience and just cracking up, having a good time,
That's fun.
They ended up cracking down on people in the practice rooms because there was a lot of people I wasn't allowed to be in there, but I was, right? But I was playing piano.
Yeah, because you weren't part of the program.
But I'm not in the music department. And I didn't have any special permission. Like, you'd have to have a card to, like, get in.
Uh-huh.
And my buddies had the card, so we just get right in. Well, it was just so much fun. Anyway, I thought that's kind of the Jam and Chat. Just in person with friends.
Yeah.
And then sometimes, like, somebody, it would go, like, scene change. And then, like, we would change scenes. Like, but they wouldn't say that, but they'd go, okay, now you're you're underwater now. And then I had to change how I'd play it to make it sound like it was aquatic.
Yeah, that's the
right?
Jam and Chat.
So, it was super fun. Quick story. Me and my friend Aiden, good friend of mine from school, I met him there. Him and I got really close, and we bonded over music and games and all kinds of stuff. But he was usually the friend I'd go in there with. And him and I one time it was just him and I in there, and we were just playing piano. If I recall, we might have been doing. I can't remember. Oh no, wait, maybe we were filming something because him and I made a YouTube video a long time ago too. Either way, we were in the practice room for some reason, and all I remember is that I think it was for a video. Now that I think about it, during the video we had to like fall to the ground very quickly. Like
okay,
right? And all I remember is that him and I both fell to the ground really quickly, like purposefully. And as soon as we did that, alarms started going off. And we looked at each other and we're like, what did we do? What happened? Like I'm seeing it wasn't that. It was like a
It's like a fire drill?
it was a fire alarm that went off because there was a fire in the school.
Oh.
It was fine and no one got hurt or anything, just a kitchen had to get fixed up, but somewhere. But anyway, like for some reason we associated that exact moment with what we're not supposed to be in here to begin with. The alarm's going off. What did we do? We shouldn't have hit the floor. What's going on? It was just this weird, those moments happen so quick.
Yeah.
Like what happened? Anyway, it was just a fire.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
Fire alarm. But him and I were so scared. Like they're gonna catch us. And we weren't doing anything wrong. The worst thing I was doing was being in there when I shouldn't have been.
What are they going to do? We kick you out? Whatever.
Right. And why would the alarm go off just when you fall? That doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't.
But anyway.
That's funny.
Practice rooms were fun. And that's kind of the birth, in a way, of the Jam and Chat.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
It was fun.
Aw,
Peach would come too. We'd be a big group of us all just hanging out.
that's a good memory.
Yeah. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, that does sound like fun. I probably would have been in there laughing.
You would have been in the audience laughing, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would have tried to get you to perform, but you wouldn't have.
No, I wouldn't have.
No.
But I would have laughed. So.
You would have laughed.
Yeah. Well, my number 3 is from Mississippi State.
Can you say the word Mississippi?
Mississippi.
Not say Mississippi State.
Mississippi State.
You still barely said it. You say Mississippi State.
Yeah. That's
You
how
say Mississippi.
Mississippi. That's how you say it down here.
Well, I say Mississippi.
Well,
You literally took out like an SSI. You're just saying Mississippi.
That's how you say it down here.
Oh my God. Anyway, go on.
Oh, you're right. I did.
She didn't. You have this whole time.
Yeah, but I didn't even, because that's how you say it.
Somebody didn't go to school for grammar.
Absolutely not. That is not what I went to school for. My number 3. So when I was at Mississippi State, I was in I was in color guard in the band. And you know, they have like pretty popular, like in the SEC football area, realm, whatever group, they have, you know, their football team is I guess decently well known. But anyway, it was fun because I was in color guard and we performed at all the football games.
Are they the team or it's Roll Tide? Is that Roll Tide? Like that's what they say, Roll Tide?
Absolutely not.
I don't know who that is. I know nothing about...
It's Alabama.
So who's your... Is it Ole Miss? Is that the same?
Excuse me? Is that the same what? Finish your question.
Is that your school?
No. Mississippi State and Ole Miss are like the biggest rivals ever.
You're asking me like I know.
You can't say it's
Who's
the same
University
school.
of Illinois' biggest rival?
I don't know.
So don't get mad at me.
But don't say Ole Miss is Mississippi State. That's a huge issue.
I didn't know. I was just asking, and then you insult me when I'm just trying to ask.
I didn't insult you. I just said.
Well, not insult me, but you're like calling me out, getting all like
well,
aggressive.
Because you don't. People agree with me.
Educate me.
You can't say that.
I'm asking to be educated.
You can't say it.
Educate
say that.
me.
They're different. Ole Miss is University of Mississippi. It's different than Mississippi State University. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
Now I know.
Okay. So you've learned that lesson.
Right.
So anyway, we had one game, and I think this game was actually against Ole Miss. Because it was like the last game, and it was a huge deal. Mm-hmm. Whatever. Well, it was starting to get cold in the football season. I think it was on Thanksgiving or near Thanksgiving. It was pretty cold. And we had to go out there and like perform, you know. But it was abnormally cold. It was like 30 or 20 degrees. And like when you're going to the football game, you can like bundle up and be warm or whatever. But we were in color guard, and so we were in the stands with the band. And the band has, you know, like their band uniform on that's kind of thicker or whatever. But then like color guard, we just have like our color guard outfit, which is like one layer of clothing. And we have like little pom-poms, and we would do little things during when the band was playing. And so we're out there freezing our butts off, because we can't wear jackets or anything because it's not part of the uniform. And then they're like, oh yeah, go, like time to go perform. So we go out on the field, and all I remember, I remember because then we had to stand out there and wait for it to be time too, and it was just so cold and it was so windy. And I remember, I'm like my toes, we had the dance shoes on, so they were super thin, super thin shoes. And I was like, my toes are frozen. I don't know that I'm walking, I can't tell. And also my fingers were frozen, and I could not, like, when I grabbed the metal pole of the flag, like it felt warm in my hand.
Yeah.
Compared to my hand. It was so cold.
You can't feel anything. Yeah.
I was just totally numb. And I thought, oh my gosh, how in the world am I going to perform and throw this flag and flip this flag around and I can't feel anything?
So how'd you do?
We did all right. I did it. I counted really hard. Just like I have to make sure I'm counting and make sure I can't just go with the flow and feel it like I usually do. I have to count because I'm so cold. I'm moving. It's like you're moving in slow motion, you know?
Yeah.
Like everything is so. Anyway, we did it though. We did pretty.
Well, good job.
We did pretty well, I think. But anyway, that was my third favorite memory because I felt so accomplished and I felt so proud of like our team that we all pushed through and still did our best even though we were all frozen solid. And then we like all laughed about it and talked about it afterwards. So like, were you that cold too? And everybody was like, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
that is pretty cold for the South.
it was abnormally cold, but anyway, it was just a fun like team memory.
That's fun.
Yeah.
That's fun. I've seen a couple of videos of her in color guard, like it's on YouTube. That's kind of cool. I didn't get to see you because it's so far away, but you pointed yourself out to me.
Yeah.
But that's a fun memory.
Yeah.
I never did any, once again, kind of surprisingly, I didn't do band or anything like in school. Like, I mean, I did in high school, but I never did in college. My number 2 is kind of quick, actually. So I mentioned the C-Wing before. But, so sometimes there were a few semesters where I was kind of, I used to be a really bad procrastinator, like really bad. So I would always kind of get like, it was slim pickings for classes once it was time for me to go. Like time for me to pick classes out because I waited so late.
Why?
Because I didn't want to go.
Yeah.
And anyway, so I waited last minute and then I picked, but then what that would mean is that I have a class at 8 o'clock. I have one at 9 and then I have another one at 3.
Yeah.
And then there's like a 3-hour window or more than that.
You
sometimes.
Don't get good pick. Yeah.
So, at the lesson learned later on in my later years there, but at the beginning, that's how it was. And my number 2, basically, is my favorite memory is when I discovered something and when I started something, but it was kind of because of my free time at college, like free time in between classes. So when I wasn't in the C-Wing, as I mentioned earlier, with all my friends, I would go off into like a study section and do some work. But a lot of the times I'd get the work done pretty quick, or I wouldn't do it. And then I had my laptop at the time, and I started watching YouTube a lot. And so anyway, I started watching YouTube a lot. And that was a pivotal moment for me. Because this was the time that I stopped. This is when I cut the cable and stopped watching cable TV and switched to YouTube.
Okay, but you watched YouTube before then, though.
Yeah, but there was a moment, and I remember the moment. It was actually a specific channel. I've showed you this guy before. It would never interest you to watch on your own, but it's called Metal Jesus Rocks.
Oh, yeah, you showed me that.
He just talks about old video games, no relation to Jesus. And I just remember thinking, this guy is making these videos all the time, and I always have something to watch. This is the first time where I started to watch YouTube, and like it was my TV now instead of TV.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
And because this was 2011, 2012, so this was like YouTube's been around for a few years, but it was just starting to like take off. She's doing her math.
When you were in college?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yes.
Graduated high school in 2012.
Right. So 2012. Yeah.
So you were okay.
I was in college,
but not 2011.
2012. Sorry. I couldn't remember. I knew it was right around there.
Okay, I was like, you were still in high school, weren't you?
Right. Well, I was half right. I said 2012.
Okay, well, that's why I was mathing.
Mathing. I didn't know math was a verb. You can math.
Yes.
But anyway, so that was a pivotal moment for me, and that's why it's one of my favorite memories, but that's only half of this. Basically, what I have here is YouTube became my life, because that's what number 2 is. Well, because the other part is that same time, I started my YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
Watching this guy on YouTube and a few musicians on YouTube, and watching our good friend Weston, online known as Magic Man Mo. He started a YouTube channel before me. Well, technically, I was the first to start one. Let me just clarify that, because I did one in 2007. Okay. And I made a few videos, but I didn't make them consistently. I made one a year.
Yeah.
Right. But anyway, he started making like gaming videos, and he made a couple animation videos. And I thought, I want to start doing cover songs on YouTube. And I was learning the YouTube game and not the game, but the YouTube space, and really how I completely changed how I viewed YouTube in 2012. Because that's when all these big YouTubers were hitting the scene and starting to make a living on YouTube.
Yeah.
It was just the right time, and I had this free time at school, so I associate that with Parkland.
Yeah.
Because I was sitting in these study areas on my laptop watching this guy talk about games and going, I want to do stuff. I want to make stuff on YouTube like this.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's number 2 because that's still to this day a huge part of my life. You can ask Steph. 95% of what I watch is on YouTube.
Yeah.
The other 5% is on Twitch. And then I make YouTube videos still. And I'm on YouTube every week. So it's clearly left a mark on me. Anyway, that's my second favorite college kind of related memory.
Well, that's a good one.
Thank you.
Part of it made you who you are.
Yeah. The funniest thing, the biggest part of who I am from college happened in between college courses. Had nothing to. It just took place in the building, I guess. Think about that.
Well, that's so exciting.
Yeah.
That, like, I don't know. I think that's a really good memory. Like, for me to think about you sitting there too, and like thinking about those things and planning and.
Yeah, a lot of plotting and planning at that time.
I don't know.
Kind of in my own little world.
That's a good number 2.
Thank you.
Well,
why don't you give me yours?
My number 2 is also at Christian Brothers and also involves Casey.
Oh my goodness.
But it is about our senior project. So, and I could talk about this forever, but I will make it fairly quick. But we worked, you had to do a senior project where there were a couple things you could do. You could do moon buggy, which was like making a car type thing that could like be on the moon, and then you like race it in a competition. Or you could do something that was called like Baja or something like that, and it was another car type thing you could build. And then I don't know. There was something else you could do too. So it was sort of like stuff that they did every year that you could just be a part of, and that would be part of your senior project. But me and Casey and
Daniel
and
sorry, Daniel. I don't know why she's roping you into this.
Because he wasn't. He wasn't in the group.
Sorry, Daniel.
Oh my gosh.
She doesn't remember you.
It was me and Casey and Natalia. And
I'm glad she's letting us know, because we know who these people are.
Yeah, and Natalia's birthday is tomorrow.
Oh good. Everybody wish Natalia happy birthday.
Yeah. And then I think I forgot who else. I thought there was somebody else in the group. Oh, Sebastian. He was in the group. Anyway.
Good. Now, since you brought their names up, now you have to explain who they are. They're pivotal roles in this story.
I'm not going through all that.
I don't know why you shared all their names.
because it's part of the memory. Quit giving me a hard time. This is my memory.
Sorry.
And we decided to create we were like, no, we're not doing all these cookie cutter things. We're going to do our own thing. And which was kind of risky, because like you're just making something up. And we designed a horse, not a mechanical bull, but a mechanical horse. And the purpose was to help mostly children, but also adults with like sort of muscular type diseases. And a lot of kids who struggle with that go to like equine therapy, which can be good like emotionally, that they bond with a horse. But also it's the motion of them when they sit on the horse, the motion of the horse's like shoulder area or legs where they sit translates to their pelvis, the motion of walking. So they get that motion, whereas if they just went to physical therapy and they struggle to walk, they're walking weird and it's not giving their muscles and their neurological connections the correct motion. And that's why they ride horses. But that's usually not covered by therapy and it's super, super expensive. So we thought, what can we do? And actually, we came up with this because Natalia, she's from Brazil, and she has, I don't know if it was a family member or knew somebody in Brazil who had a ranch that did this stuff, and it was getting shut down because it was so expensive and stuff. So this was sort of an idea. She's like, what if we created this? And then we all came together. Anyway, we designed this mechanical horse and we called it the hippo horse.
I remember this.
Because hippo is horse in Latin and horse is horse in English. So it was horse. But
horse.
Yeah. But anyway, that's what we called it. And we created this. We built it. We welded it. We created all these different things. We put it together. And we had to program it to run, and we had to do different speeds. We had to do walking, canter, and trot. And then we took it to the University of Memphis and put little 3D dots on it and had them 3D map the motion. And then we adjusted the programming so that it matched the actual motion of an actual horse. And we took it to an equine therapy place and tested it out, and they gave us some feedback and all this stuff. Anyway, we started pursuing a patent, but I think it just was so expensive. And at the time, we were all just right out of college, and we were like, we don't have $10,000. So anyway, it was really cool, but I loved it. It was such a good memory, of the months that we worked on it as a team, building it and creating it together and having those ideas. And then it was so much fun presenting it because so many people asked so many really good questions. And I remember putting together the presentation, and I loved doing that. And it was so much fun, and walking through the process of designing it. And then also we even traveled to a competition where we presented it there, and we had to take it with us and stuff. I don't know. It was just really cool. And we collaborated with another college, to get the 3D mapping done. Anyway, it was just a really cool experience all around. So I was really proud of everybody on the team.
That's something to be proud of.
Yeah.
That's one of the first things you told me about when I met you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really cool thing. You didn't take the path that everyone took. You kind of went off on your own a little bit and did your own thing, and that's really cool. In fact, you were at the final stages of your patent journey when we just met.
No, we weren't at final stages. We didn't start a patent.
You were talking about it currently when we met.
Oh, yeah. Well, we've talked about it on and off for several years because I keep bringing it up.
Remember that also, that was almost 4 years ago too.
Well, I think it's too late though now. I think other people come up with designs now, so it's saying, a mute point at this point.
All I was saying is that I remember thinking that was super cool.
Yeah.
That was kind of current at the time.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm really proud of it. We worked really hard, a lot of late nights.
Sure. Well, that's really something to be proud of. I'm proud of you.
Yeah. Thank you. So that was really cool. All right. Ready for a little more research? Okay.
Sure.
All right.
This one's going to go pretty long. We're going long.
Are we?
I can tell you why.
Don't.
I'm smiling.
Don't tell me why. I don't give you a hard time when you talk most of the time.
Well, I keep it in at an hour.
Not every time. That's not true.
I'm giving you a hard time, Steph.
Okay.
Take your time. It's okay.
So there's a little bit of research. We got to get through several hundred years here.
Oh, boy.
Okay. But it'll be quick. Okay. So the early 1900s, so now we're in early 1900s, saw institutions created to educate groups excluded by traditional colleges, which were women, Black people, immigrants, and Roman Catholics. Black colleges remained restricted to grade school and agricultural or industrial-focused instruction with little college-level education offered. By 1900, 5% of 18 to 21-year-old males attended college. That's up from the 3.1% that was in 1860. And students were normally accepted based on gender, religion, and race. Graduation rates continued to be low. Although tuition had seen no major increases, the price of college was still too high for the average family.
So it's always been that way. All right.
Yeah. So after 1920, college students became associated with parties, gambling, and drinking.
When?
And after the 1920s.
Okay.
But such partying was tolerated because of the upward social mobility gained by making contacts and partying with the right crowd.
I mean, some still benefit from that more than anything with college.
Yeah,
It's
a lot
the
of
connections
colleges
they make.
A lot of colleges now too. It's like they're known as party schools, and it's all about like going there to make the connections.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. All right, we're moving now to the 1980s. U.S. colleges, World War II through the 1980s. So after World War II, colleges and universities moved towards advanced selective programs and expanded the base of students admitted. So now you have research universities, junior colleges, and for-profit institutions. In the 1939 to 1940 school year, the student enrollment was under 1.5 million nationally. But by the 1949 to 1950, so this is 10 years later, school year, student enrollment grew to 2.7. So in 10 years, you went from 1.5 million to 2.7 million enrolled. The 1970s also saw the shift from higher education for education's sake to a need for pre-professional studies and a translation of work after graduation. So right around the 1970s now is where we're seeing, okay, well, you want to go to college to get a good job after high school. Like we're seeing that shift now. Instead of it being mostly for like social gain, now it's like actually to get a job or whatever. So for many, to be considered middle class or to get a middle class job required a college degree in the 1970s. Okay, now we're moving on to 1990s to present. So the 1990s and 2000s saw a rise in enrollment and tuition costs and a steadily lower unemployment rate for college graduates. College enrollment increased 11% between 1990 and 2000 and increased 37% from 2000 to 2010.
That sounds right to me. Because that was like the peak of, like, you have no choice but to go to college. It doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah. That's when
That's
that was
the narrative for like everybody.
During that time.
That's kind of wavered now. But at the time, that, like when we were going through school, you had to go to college.
Oh, yeah. The average college tuition in the 1990s to 1991 school year was $10,600.
What year? Sorry.
This was 1990 to 1991 school year.
$10,600. Oh my gosh.
In 2000 to 2001 school year, it was $13,000. According to
now it's 40.
I know. Yeah. According to the U.S. Census, 33.4% of the adult U.S. population had a bachelor's degree or higher as of March 30th, 2017, with 20.8% holding bachelor degrees, 9.3% with associate degrees, and 1.5% with professional degrees, and 1.9% with PhDs, doctorates. In 1940, when the U.S. Census began collecting that information, only 4.6% of adults held bachelor degrees. So, from 1940 to 2017.
We're bouncing around all over.
I know. So from 1940, the percentage of adults holding bachelor degrees was 4.6%. In 2007, it was 20.8%. So we went up about 15%.
It's a big jump.
Yeah. So
all of that kind of checks out.
Yeah,
it sounds about right. I was curious when the shift. We never learned about the religious shift, but
yeah, we did. In the 1920s, it was sort of shifted from religion to more about social.
But why? That's really what I was getting at. It's okay. We don't have to know for now. I'm just saying that'd be interesting to learn on our own, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know specifically. Well, probably because like 1920s, it was more. That's when like the flappers, and it was a more.
I was like, what do you know about the 20s stuff?
Well, no, it was a more.
Christianity was huge at that time.
I know, but it also seemed like there was a little bit more raciness and like expanding other social.
Well, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. People were very, I guess, wild and liberal with everything they were doing in the 20s, which is why everything went crashing down soon after.
Yeah, so I think that part of it just opened it up a little bit.
Right. That's cool. Well, I wanted to touch on that thing we were just talking about with like the They were shoving it down our throats. It's funny because I was recently talking to students at the school I went to high school at, and it was opened up to questions at the end, and one of them asked me what college I went to, and then I said I went to Parkland, and I was talking about music to these students. I was talking to music students, and I said, but I didn't study music though. I studied business. And then the teacher, he spoke up, and he was just kind of speaking out loud, and he said something along the lines of, when you're going through school, he said, what we teach our students now is that, there's college is definitely for some of you, and then there's also other kinds of jobs or other sort of trades that you could do that don't require a standard degree. So I think it's cool that they're reprioritizing, or they're reshifting the narrative again, which I think is really good.
Yeah.
That there's a place for everybody to do what they should do.
You don't have to go to college to be successful.
No, absolutely not. Anyway, I just thought that was kind of interesting. Because last time I checked, schools were still like shoving it down your throat, no matter what you want to do.
Yeah.
You want to be a musician? Great, go to college. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Which, granted, you could. I mean, you could be, if you want to be a classical musician or a teacher or something like that. But you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So, wow. Well, thanks for sharing that. That was fun little journey. The most interesting stuff, honestly, was that first half where it was like kind of learning how it all started and what it was like.
Yeah.
And very small numbers, and it's grown. I'm actually surprised at how few people actually still have.
Yeah.
That's a small percentage to me.
Percentages were still small.
You said like 30 total, right? Is that what you said? I think you said 30.
Total for what? Bachelors?
Well, it's 20 for bachelors.
You mean 30 total?
Yeah, 30 with a degree of some kind. Didn't you say 30?
No, I didn't. I listed out the different degrees and the percentages for each degree.
Oh, okay. I remember you saying 30 at one point, but maybe that was for one of them.
Oh, I don't know.
It's all good. Doesn't matter. This information doesn't really matter. So.
I'm just kidding. It does. I took the time to look it up.
I know. I'm just kidding. Are you looking now?
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah. 33.4% of the adult U.S. population has a bachelor degree or higher as of 2017.
Huh.
Yeah, so 33%.
So I'm just saying that's a smaller number than I would have anticipated.
Yeah, it is.
Considering for at least how long they, were pushing school.
It is.
Okay. So let's get to our number ones. We are currently at an hour. We're almost at an hour and 20 minutes.
Okay. Well, why do you have to report on the time?
I'm just letting you know what time it is.
Just go. Tell me your number one. I'm having fun talking to you. I don't care about the time.
My number one has absolutely nothing to do with college, except that I was going to college during this time.
Well, does that count?
It does count. Because I associate it with college, because I would come
then
home.
it counts. Yeah, then it counts.
My number one was my roommate days. Okay. Sorry, she was looking at me like I just told her I murdered her family.
Well, your roommate days. I don't know. What does that mean?
My roommate days. So our good friend Jake, who suggested this episode topic, was one of my roommates. We were all going to college at the time, and him and I were going to the same school for a while.
Yeah.
And then we had a couple of roommates one was going to another one, and one was graduated. But anyway, the roommate days. So I first got out, I lived in the town that my college was in now, so I didn't have to commute to school anymore. I could just go across town and go to school.
Yeah.
And it's my number one college memory because it takes place during those college years, and those are just so much fun memories. Couple quick stories to tell from that time. Steph knows these because she recently met Jake. One story I'll tell is one time we had a lot of fun and we pulled a lot of pranks on each other.
You're telling the story because you know he wants you to tell it.
No, I was going to tell this anyway. We pulled a lot of pranks on each other and we had a lot of fun, but Jake pulled a lot of them on me in particular. He liked to pick on me. Of course he did. And I came home one day after vacation. I was gone for a week, and I come back and I go into my bathroom and there's a frickin' shopping cart in my bathtub, just sitting right there. And he propped up, he had his phone plugged it, he had his phone recording, so he got my reaction, and I was so mad. Another thing that he did, I'm just going through these kind of quick, they're more fun to tell in person, but another one he did one time was I came back home after a weekend being somewhere, and everything in my room was flipped upside down. All of my posters, my laptop, anything that could be flipped upside down was flipped upside down. And he like rehung the posters. It was crazy, which I thought that was a pretty clever and fun.
It probably
fun
took
idea.
a long time.
So it was him and 2 other roommates. So there was 4 of us in that house at once. It got, for me, I was such a clean freak, and they're all dirty, especially Jake. It's like, oh my gosh. You know what I mean? But no, but it was a lot of fun and some of my favorite memories ever. Another great memory, I'm just going through this kind of quick. Jake and I used to live stream songs together. So Jake's a musician. So we would, I don't even know if you knew that, but he plays guitar and he sings. And so like him and I would like grab a couple guitars and like we'd sing songs and like live stream them.
Oh.
Way back then, long before Jam and Chats, right? We would do stuff like that, which is really fun. And the number one, well, not the number one, but the biggest thing that the only one that's public is me and my roommates did a video called When Mama Isn't Home. Roommate remix. It is to this day my first or second most viewed YouTube video ever. I think it's got almost 500,000 views now at this point. And it was just a viral video, right? So if anyone remembers, if you look up When Mama Isn't Home, you can find it. This is a popular Vine, I think. Maybe it was just a YouTube video. But either way, what it was When Mama Isn't Home, and it was a dad and a son, and they're dressed all cool. They got like dark shades on, and they're in the kitchen. And the dad's got a trombone, and he's playing this little song, and his son, his like 10-year-old son, is like at the oven, holding the oven, and then he starts playing on the trombone, dun, 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 dun. And then the son takes the oven door and slams it like a drum. And then that's all it is. And they stop, and that's it. It was just a stupid viral video. And we made our own version of it, and we called it the roommate version.
Yeah.
And we all kind of did it like the Harlem Shake, where like the beat would start, then it cuts, and we were all doing something crazy, kind of like Harlem Shake back in the day. I just aged myself by mentioning that, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And that was such a fun memory, because like watching those numbers go up, like look at it, we're at 10,000 views, and the creator of that video reached out to us and everything.
Oh, wow.
Because we were one of the first on that train, right?
Oh, you were?
Yeah, it was early. Like the video just dropped, and it was like 11 p.m. or midnight, and we did it then. It was late at night when we did
wow.
it. So like, and then we uploaded it to YouTube very quickly.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that was super duper duper fun. That's only the scratching the surface. We had a lot of fun memories, but I tie it to college because I remember like hating going to college. I just did. I didn't like going to school. And then but I remember always being excited for like what would happen when we got home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, so I kind of still tie it to that. And we'd always have stories to tell. We didn't take a lot of classes together, or any, I think. But yeah, it was just a lot of fun.
That's fun still.
Fun memories. So
Aww.
that's my number one.
I like
the
that.
roommate days.
I like that.
That's just scratching the surface. There could be a roommates episode that I think we should do sometime, but I wanted to throw that in here. So
okay.
What's your number one?
Well, that's a good number one. I think that's a really good one.
Thank you. Sorry, I'll rush. I always go, what's your number one? You're like, well, I haven't talked about yours yet. I haven't responded yet. So I'm sorry about that.
It's fine. My number one will be pretty quick. It's pretty straightforward. My number one is graduating.
Oh my God. Wow.
That's it.
Your number one is the actual graduation is your number one?
No. It's like the memories around the graduation and stuff. So like
saying your goodbyes? No.
Well, if you let me tell you, I'll tell you about it.
I'd love to know because I'm curious how this could make a number one.
So I had, first of all, I was coming off of my number two memory, which was the hippo horse situation because it was at the end of the year.
Yeah.
So I was feeling very good about that. I already had a job lined up. I knew where I was going to work. It was sad to say goodbye to friends and stuff, but most of the friends that I was close with, I knew I would keep in touch with. But I had family come in for my graduation and stay with us and come to the graduation and then also Bianca, I used to babysit her and her family came. I don't know. And then like just the actual graduation, yeah, having the diploma and doing all that stuff, because it felt so good to like graduate and be like, I accomplished this. It felt so good. I had all my different chords and I went through the honors program, and then I had one for SWE, and I had all these things that I had accomplished over and like worked really hard to get to, because it was not easy, you know, taking classes through every single summer. I worked and had an internship and went to school and tried to maintain a personal life. And I commuted 30 minutes one way to school every single day. So an hour total. It was hard. And so just graduating and having family be there and support me and friends be there, and then like having my accomplishments and being like, I did this and I accomplished this. It felt so good. And I was so thankful to be able to share that with my family and the people who came, you know, and were involved in my graduation and the process and stuff. It felt so great. So, yeah. So, I mean, that was my number one. I think it's like everything kind of built up to that. And it was, I know some people are like, oh, graduation, whatever. But for me, I just feel like I worked, like it wasn't easy. I worked my butt off. I worked so hard, and to like have it come to like be to achieve that felt awesome.
Sure.
So.
Well, that's something to be proud of too. You know, that stuff is not easy, especially when you're bouncing a bunch of things around and stuff. That can really put a toll on you.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I read somewhere like a lot of people are their most busy and most stressed during college.
Well, yeah, because you're trying to work. Like I had a job and an internship and school and commuted.
Like
it was a lot.
Right. I could never, I mean, I never went to school like full time. I always I guess I did one semester, but like I always was able to bounce things around pretty decent. Like, so I can only imagine. It sounds like you were just super busy all the time.
But it was also like, I also enjoyed it. And then it felt, when you accomplished it at the end, it felt even better, because it's like, I did this.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Looking back and realizing I did it. Because not only is that like, you know, you've learned something, or a lot of things rather, but also like you learned how to manage your time, and you learned how to, you know, that sort of thing's really important too, I feel like. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Well, I'm proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I guess the fact too, like, I don't know, there weren't, CBU, the class was really small. I think in the graduating class of mechanical engineers, I think there were maybe 4 women, and 2 of them were me and Casey. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It felt like such a good accomplishment too, like to be able to go through engineering in 3 years, and I don't know. It felt really like a really good accomplishment. So I don't know.
Well, that's what matters. If it feels good to you and you're proud of that, that's great. That's what matters.
Yeah.
So. I think it's great.
Oh, my graduation hat. You know how you can design your graduation hat and like decorate it? I put on mine. I did it for my cats.
Oh my gosh.
In like glittery, like foily letters, and then put butterflies and cat stickers and glitter and stuff on it. It was so cute.
I did it for my cats.
Yeah, because somebody has to buy their food.
They're not going to buy it themselves.
Yeah, somebody has to work so they can buy their food.
All right. Well, what a great way to end this. Oh, that was fun.
That was a lot of fun. You had some really great memories. Some I knew and some I didn't.
Most of my memories were in between classes. That was most of my memories, because that's where I was having. That's where I was having
except your
my
first
fun.
one. Your first one was a class.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I'm okay with it. I'm just saying, my favorite memories, I just think it's kind of funny. My favorite college memories took place outside of college.
Yeah.
All right. Let us pick the next topic here. But first, we should do our little closing out, right? We talk about where people can find us and stuff. Steph, you want to do that?
Yeah, why don't you do it? I did it when we started, so you do it now.
You can follow us at the 2Ps Pod on Instagram, Twitter. You can also find us on Facebook. Check us out. We put little clips from our podcast. It's a fun way to keep up with what we're doing, and we'll announce our new episodes on there and stuff too. So definitely follow us at all those places. You can Subscribe to us on YouTube. Give us a rating on Spotify, wherever you're listening. Show us your support. Leave us a review if you're listening on Apple. Any little bit makes a huge difference. I noticed there's some new listeners. Kind of every time we do an episode, just one or two new ones, I'll notice. There's a few extra places people are listening. So continue. Spread the love. We appreciate it. It goes a long way. The best way to support the show right now, honestly, is to shoot us more topics. Anything you want us to talk about, we will. If you want to stay anonymous, you can. We don't have to say your name on the episode that we do the topic for. Keep that in mind. But anyway, that does go a long way. For now, though, I think we're going to go. We learned about the history of colleges. We talked about our favorite college memories. And now it's time to go to the next episode.
Yeah.
So why don't you give me that drum roll, Steph?
All right.
That was absolutely terrible. Go and try it again.
All right.
Top 5 most overrated movies.
This is going to be lots of arguing in this one.
You think so?
Yeah.
Most overrated movies. Like, I guess in our opinion. Like our most overrated movies.
It must be like our opinion.
Yeah. All right. Well, stick around, everybody. We'll be back with the next episode soon. Until then, stay clean and brush your teeth and get your ears checked. Anything you want to add to that, Steph?
Nope. I think you covered it.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.